Welcome to episode 17, everybody, and we're going to start off with how to resolve some of the audio issues that we've had over the last few podcasts. I'm not 100% sure why we've had audio issues. I think I've got to the bottom of it, but it's been a bit of a ball ache. Anyway, this is how to resolve audio issues for your TV. I'm going to play you the beginning of episode 16. Lovely intro, then suddenly no audio. So I'm just going to pause that. The problem has been the music has been from a surround sound source, and the audio is I'm not too sure what's happened. I think it's gone across in stereo and YouTube doesn't like it. So this is how to solve it. Pause your screen. You want to get your cursor to the channel icon. Take it across to settings, which is the end one. Press settings, and as you go down, you'll see surround sound. It's on at the minute. Tick it so it's off. Get back to the channel. Oop.
Talking about cormorants and all the other negative things for the last 2 weeks, and
that is how to resolve that little issue. So if that happens again on the podcast, that's how to see it on the TV. If you're watching other YouTube channels and that happens, that's how to resolve that as well.
Why don't you shut up, Andy?
Anyway, let's get on with the podcast.
Welcome everybody to episode 17, and hopefully you can hear us. That was totally unrehearsed. So, just to recap, hopefully what I've done now with the settings means the audio is working. Can you let me know in the comments? Because if you still can't hear it, it'd be good to know so I can then play around with it again. But I have to publish something to find out if I've done it properly. So it's a bit irritating. Anyway, less of that. Obviously, we're going to talk about Winter League.
all right.
Winter League only. Before we get onto that, though, should we go straight into another Winter League?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm on about?
No.
No. Spilsby.
We inflict me out.
I'm going to mention this first because if we don't,
We'll forget about it.
we might get lost in everything. Yeah. Okay, so Derek Skinner's been brilliant. He's been sending me the results every week, and I'm just going to do the overall because they finish now. And you will know lots of these guys. And it's the same old names.
Mm.
First, with...
Any glasses, mate?
No, I actually looked at this earlier and I thought I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So it's out of the total of best 5 matches, and he has got 5 points. So does that mean Mick has won 5 matches?
5 sections.
5 sections. That's amazing.
Mm.
So Mick was first with 5 points, 5 section wins. And
Well done, Stampede.
do you know him?
Yeah.
Second was Dave Dean.
Yeah.
Another name we hear a lot, and he had 6 points. So he won his section 4 times and come second once. Very consistent. Dave Ashmore was third with 7 points. Mark Hook was fourth with 10. And Pete Harker was fifth with 11.
He's still going, old Pete.
So these are guys that you know from prior. So Derek, thanks for sending that in. Guys, great effort doing the Winter League. It went all the way down to 22nd place, and I'll put a little picture up here so everyone can see where they came. So that was good. Right, where do you want to start with this then?
Where do you want to start?
You've been very quiet. You were very loud beforehand, and now you've gone very quiet.
Loud. I'm never loud.
Do you want to start with... So obviously we're going to talk about the Winter League final.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the morning and how the draw was done? Give us some kind of a context to it.
Yeah, so the draw's at Harry Smith School. Most teams just send one representative to draw. Normally, at about 7:30, it's the biggest draw baggers in the country because every team gets the biggest draw bag to go and do the draw, don't they? So we picked Gavin Butler.
Oh, he is a big draw bag.
Yeah, Millhouse went to do the draw.
Just pull your mic a tad this way, mate.
That
I
way.
meant to do it right at the beginning. I do apologise.
How's that?
That's better.
Yeah. So we got Gav down just to do the draw, basically. We had a few.
You have
There's a
to
few
pay his
drawbacks
fuel
in our team.
You've got a few.
Yeah, yeah, and but he's the biggest. So yeah. So about 10 to 8, we got our peg sets through. Wednesday night, we know which sections we're going to. So the Angling Trust do a live sort of draw for the sections, what anglers are going where. So on Wednesday, we knew where I was going. Guess what? Not to March again. I was going to the Bower.
So how did you feel once you knew?
I felt, don't know really. I felt that it was probably a good thing that I was going to the Bower because I've been there more than anyone, if that makes sense. Literally every time it's been in, I've been on it. So
Well, you should know it
yeah,
very well.
the usual suspects, like Alistair and Gav and all them lot. They've never even seen it. Do you know what I mean? They don't even know where it is.
Would you have to draw a map for Alistair? Would he get lost in the fen?
Yeah. I'd have to leave next week. We'll need to find that. Driving over the white line. I better not go near the middle. And yeah, so Neil's going there, which I like the fact you know which section you're going to.
Yeah.
Because we had a big team meeting on the Wednesday night. A good meeting. Obviously, we spoke about each section individually, how it was fishing. The way it fished was fantastic. Obviously, totally different to what we predicted. I think we predicted quite a few blanks. Well, you predicted.
Oh yeah.
You over-egged it a little bit. But you
Bit of clickbait, wasn't it, for the thumbnail?
But
I did think a lot of people would blank.
yeah, well, we spoke about sections, and if you draw certain areas in certain sections, how do you catch these tiny little? We call them kingfisher fish. Basically, if a kingfisher can eat them, they're what we've got to target. So where would a kingfisher go to catch one of these fish?
Kingfisher fodder.
Yeah. So we spoke about that. We spoke about the good areas and sort of timings and when certain fish were feeding, and we had a good meeting. Sorted out what bait people want, what runners, who's going to run for who. Obviously different characters like different runners, and the key thing was really to try and not
just
get
quite in
people
depth actually, isn't
to
it?
skyline you
Yeah.
as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the sun is on your back on all of those venues pretty
Yeah.
much. So yeah, just little details. We felt little things could make big differences, and trying to keep everyone mentally prepared for a last hour when the fish might feed, because obviously we normally finish at 3:30 or 3:15. Was fishing later till 4. So leading up to it on the Wednesday night, it was the lakes at our place were frozen, everywhere was freezing cold. Obviously we got people out and about looking at venues and stuff, and the rumour was on Friday, once we knew where the pegs were, and everyone was like, oh, this is that so-and-so peg, so roughly when you draw where you're going to be. The water temperature had gone from I think 3.4 to 8.5.
I still don't think that's accurate.
I think it is.
I can't see how it's gone up that quick.
It has massively. It's surprising.
Well, maybe that's where my water bill goes. Maybe
Wow.
got the tap running and I'm heating up water out there.
Yeah, it's it does go up quickly. Yeah. So anyway, Friday there's fish moving about, and obviously Steve Smith's underwater camera is a good indicator. Windmill Steve. The fish were a bit more active. He took a picture of them or video of them on the Wednesday, and they were like, wow, dormant. Do you know what I mean? And not really bothered about food. And then Friday they're moving about a bit quicker and more energy and stuff. So
come Saturday morning, were you buzzing?
well, we was optimistic. We felt that if the fish just switched on a bit more than they had been, it would be a proper fishing match. And because of us being local as well, we felt that there's little edges and things we could get over a lot of the teams. In certain pegs and depths and stuff like that. So we were confident. We weren't. I think last year, to be honest, going into the final, we were more confident of winning than we were this year.
Do you think you were overconfident last year?
No, I just felt that everyone was absolutely smashing it last year.
Yeah.
Every single one in the team was. it was fishing really good, and everyone was catching fish, and we just felt that if we got the right draw last year, no one was going to beat us last year. We were really like on it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And this year, because it's been so peggy and patchy, there's not. It's sort of 1 minute you're a hero, next minute you're a villain. Do you know what I mean? It's like up and down, up and down. So them days when you've caught a few fish, you could only gather so much information. Obviously, certain anglers are always on them, so that helps. So yeah, going into the draw, I thought, do you know what? Get good draw. This is anyone's final. Peg set come out. So obviously, straight away, the Decoy boys are looking at their pegs and we're looking at our pegs. So a lot of the pegs mean absolutely nothing for either sort, if you know what I mean. So I know roughly what pegs and areas and stuff on Decoy. And then obviously on the drains, we know exactly where everything is. So everyone straight away goes to their phone, looks at the section. So James was obviously A section. He drew what would be B, I think he was B8, something like that. B8? Yeah, B8. So we thought he was on what we call hemp boat. So for us, he was the wrong side of the bridge. He needed to be on the grass. But he'd avoided the banana skin section of A, which had been devoid of fish, just these little kingfisher fish.
Yeah.
Maybe in the last day you catch some fish. So
Well, I feel it's a section that only your top anglers can catch fish from.
what I will say is there's a consistent peg that has come good in every single match bar one down that area. Now, the guy that stood out in that section this week was on peg 5, funny enough.
But it wasn't until the Christmas Open that I showed the way.
Well, obviously.
And
They've all listened to this podcast.
Because you lot are boogaliers.
They all know that you can't see your float over by the boat, so you take a number 8 off, let it bobble about, and that's the way to go.
Pack it under the boat, mate. I told you, wait till the elastic goes. Anyway, back to back to the weekend.
So James drew there, and it turned out it was actually the first peg below Wiggy's Bridge. So straight away we thought, he's exceptional angler, knows the area really well. He's gonna do really well, and it turned out that the one and only Steve Emmengray drew the culvert. So it was like,
yeah, that's the section win.
That's the best he could do is second.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And if he beats. Anyway, so
that beats anyone on the grass. He's done really well.
Yeah, he's done really well.
Yeah.
And then C and D section. So I looked at that, and Watling, it's the first time I've seen him speechless. Honestly, it is the first time he just went, that's missed underwater. That's missed underwater. Oh. I said, well, Gav's come good again. It's only about 4 times this year he's drawn it. And he was like, I said, right, you got your big boy pants on now, Tony? Yeah. So that peg's, it's a standout peg. He would have done well in whatever peg he drew in that section because it's a fish catching section. So next one down, F9. Polly. So we were thinking it was going to be hard. So we felt that you needed to be F1 to 3 will be first, second, and third. And the further you go away, the worse it'd get. So we said, like, Polly, just do what you do, Polly. Just catch a load of small fish if you can. Remember, the last hour is going to be really key. The last hour is going to be really key because we felt the way we fish with loose feeding squats and just basically just keep pinging them in, the roach would respond at some point. They've got to feed, and if they do feed, we'll be the ones to catch them. So obviously, there's skimmers in areas as well. So Tony's match would be slightly different to Polly's match because there's more skimmers. So he'd be fishing perhaps a more ground bait and worms match. So in the different areas, you could tailor what you wanted to do. Next section come down. So Alistair, H13. Oh.
So he was now on Carrot Wash.
He was on Carrot Wash.
Yeah.
Or was he G? Sorry, G13. 13.
So just give everyone a bit of back. Carrot Wash had been a bit weird because it was like Big Tent.
No, he was H. He was. So Carrot Wash is a new section, which is Ponders Bridge. But
it's basically tench perch and not much else.
Well, it has been the last couple of weeks, but before that, it's full of small fish. £6-7 pounds.
Yeah.
So, I advised the Angling Trust, and fair play to Angling Trust, because instead of just like they were flexible and made everyone aware how the drains were fishing and the fact that we were trying to find fish, and we wanted to leave it as late as possible.
All the guys knew. No one there
No,
yeah,
no, and
everyone
I
does it,
think
yeah.
you know the way the match went, the Angling Trust get a lot of stick when things go wrong, but they never get no credit when things go right. And to be fair to James and Richard Grange, obviously this year as well, they were communicating with us.
Yeah,
We were about and saying this, and the way it turned out, it was actually a very good match. But we'll come on to that
Yeah.
in a
I
second.
think it's, actually what you said is actually 100%. It's
Yeah.
They need to get a lot of credit. They did
Yeah,
really
yeah.
flexible and listening to
And
local
they got
advice.
the results right at the end. That's all people ask for.
I was going to ask that. There has been no revisions.
Everyone was like, "Have we won it?"
Yeah.
No, they did a fine job. But so that was obviously Alistair was our duff peg so far by a long way.
He was in the
because all his fish
section-
for the other end. I said, "Look, Ali," I said, "just do what you can.
Section of
Be
death.
who you
that
can."
one. Yeah.
If Ali had been on them big fish, he's a really good worm dangler. He's a proper.
You can't catch what's not there.
No. So that was a bit like Ali's got to have a superhuman performance today. Then my peg was J2. So for me, looking at it, I either wanted to be J1 in that section, or it was normally pretty fair. Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm listening.
Yeah. So normally that's the worst end. So normally from results of fishing Hayjacks and all the matches I've fished on there, that end peg is the one to beat. That'll catch, say, £10, and the next best weight would be £6. And if everyone catches £10, that'll catch £17. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them pegs. It's an end peg. Everyone walks the fish down from one end, and then after an hour, everyone stops catching, and the fish just filter to the end peg. So that was the peg that I wanted, and I got J2. So I thought, if I beat J1, I'll win the section. I'm the right end of my section, and then moving along to the high ends, you need to be like the higher the better. Normally up to about peg 6, and it gets a bit tougher there. Anyway, so I thought, I'm happy with that. I'm just about. I thought I'd be looking for about £2 and £4 would probably win the section. So anyway, I got to my peg, get all sorted. I'm looking at it, I thought a little bit of colour. I thought, didn't see a lot. And then literally 2 minutes before the match started, a fish topped. But they were topping all the way through. And I'm thinking, well, you don't normally see them top. I thought, might be a few fish about. So I felt like I fished a good match. But my first hour and last hour, when I thought I'd catch the best, I just couldn't catch for some reason. I don't know why. The Bow was a very technical little venue. Like, you can't sort of muller one line. There's not enough fish to just go in like March and just keep going and like trying to sort of stamp out. It's not like that. It's like proper softly. And every time you top up, you feel like you're going to ruin your peg, if that makes sense. So started on the bread. I thought I'll start on that and see what response I get, because I might catch 10 or 12 fish quickly, or if I don't get a bite, I don't get a bite. No one else is going to get a bite. So I've started on the bread, fed my little perch traps, and then I fed some ground bait. It's so shallow and it plumbs up horrendous. For anyone that's fished the Bow, it is like that. Honestly, you go dunk 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 dunk, and you're like, how can a venue be like that that's never been dredged, or it's been like that? So, and then some pegs are about this deep across, and other pegs are like this deep, and it's like, well, that's why it can be peggy as well. Certain pegs are better than others because of that. And started my match, went straight in on a bit of bread, like 3 mil bread. It went little ripple, then dink, roach, about 1.5 ounces. I looked to my left, and everyone's catching straight away. And they're carrying on going in and had a better start than me. And I'm thinking, what if bread's not right. So I switched to pinky over the top, caught a few fish, but it was hard. Do you know what I mean? I caught a few perch. Andy on the end peg had a better start, catching more perch, and then so it was sort of the first hour I felt I was behind in my match, and that bread died. So I topped up again, and nothing really happened. So I'd been dinking a few squats over my long line, nicking a few perch here and there, and I'm thinking, anyway, after about an hour and a half in, I started to catch a few fish. Like, I could line 2 or 3. You had somewhere to go in your peg where you could go fish, come off it. Whereas before it was like I could only get a bite, 1 fish, and then nothing. So it felt like the fish had perhaps sort of come down, if you know what I mean, going towards the end peg, if that makes sense. And then I had a good little spell fishing across, but I could only get two 2 to 5 fish maximum, and then it go dead. And the guy on my left stopped catching, and Andy was sort of, I was catching him up, if you know what I mean. And then it was like he'd catch 5, then I'd catch 6. He'd catch 5, and I'd catch 6. So I'm still catching him up, if you know what I mean. So it was nip and tuck. And then the rumour come along that Neil Adcock had a 4-pound chub. I was like, Neil Adcock? No way. He's just like, he's got his cigar out like now. Or like, I thought, fair play, if you've got it out. Turned out he got it out on 07. So he's done amazingly well to get it out on 07. And he has a habit of catching these like weird bonus fishing matches.
Mate, he's got the X factor.
He had like a 2-pound eel on his pinky rig first chuck in the section of Winter League this year, and I'm like, unbelievable. So anyway, then sort of the guy on my left said, "Oh, the guys to my
They
left
don't
are
call you
catching-"
Sour and Bates for nothing, do
Well,
they?
no. So anyway, the rumour was that Willsmore and Cable guy, Steve Cable next to him, they were catching. And I was priming my long line, and I felt once that sun goes down and I've got shade on the water behind me, I'm going to empty it. I'm going to catch 2.5 pound in the last hour. I was just dinking a few squats, fishing really light, like 24 IM run, 06, 4B8 and a 4B10 rig, long lash, so I weren't like having a pole tip, little back shots. Like, I love that sort of fishing and feeding. Like, I thought, I was real confident. So I felt that one of my perch lines was going on me, and I thought, do you know what, I'm gonna gamble slightly and be a bit more positive, because I knew that Neil had got a big fish. I thought, well, I need to catch something bigger. So I gambled a little bit on that perch line, and that didn't really pay off. And when I went over on that last sort of 50 minutes on that long line, I had a little run and then nothing again. And then literally it coincided. A bloke was walking his dog and it did a shit right in front of where I was fishing.
That should have given you a bit of premonition, mate.
Huh? Dave Cooper was running behind me. He looked at me and I looked at him and went, like that. Literally, like, stop, bosh, straight in front of me, out of crap. You know what I mean? It's like, I could smell the dog shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, nice, cheers, mate. Anyway, and I could see them guys catching up there. Anyway, whistle's gone. You know when you're like, you feel like you fished a good match, but it just didn't happen that last hour. And I thought, it's going to be mega tight with Andy. He's fished a good match. And the two guys to my left had caught late, and they'd caught early as well. And I'm thinking, this is going to be really tight. Scales come down, and I sort of got to him when they were at Willsmore's peg. And he was, I think, Neil had weighed 3 kilo 900. That perch was bigger than 4 pound. It's the chub, sorry. That chub was the biggest chub I've ever seen. It was massive.
3 kilo 900, so that's just under 4 kilos. So that's about just over 8 pounds he's had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at his net and he didn't have, do you know what I mean?
Well,
I'm just saying, it's a big chub. Do you know what I mean? It's a big chub.
Maybe you should have used some slugs or something.
Well, you know.
Under the tree.
Anyway, so then Simon put on the scales 3 kilo 160. I thought, I haven't got that. That's a good weight today, that is. He had some nice bread roach, some perch, and I spoke to him, and he'd fished a similar match to me.
Top angler, mate.
Where he'd done really well that last hour, he caught some bleak. Some bleak had obviously turned up. And
Bennett Sports are paying him more, obviously.
Well, and he mega, and then Steve Cable next to him, he had a little bit less. He had 2 kilo 960, so real tight between them two, really tight. And I thought, I ain't got that. Anyway, I weighed 2 kilo 750, so I'm fourth. And I'm thinking, oh no. So Andy Ellis 2 weeks ago beat me by an ounce for the section. So we're like looking at the scale, like, I could see. I thought, yes, I've beaten him. And obviously the scale's been called out 2 kilo 700. So I beat him by 50 grams. So I'd done what I wanted to do, but felt like, I beat the MPEG. But so all in all, fourth, could have got another 200 grams. I think everyone would say they could have caught another 200 grams. Maybe I was a bit too sort of.
Are you blaming it on the dog shite?
No. I don't know why I couldn't catch on that line the last hour. I felt like I'd run out of fish, if that makes sense. I felt like the peg had gone. Yeah, I maybe should have. I did catch one bleak all day, but I caught that in the first hour. And when I fed, I think I was a bit.
Would you have taken 4 points? Excuse me. At the beginning of the match.
Yeah, but I felt like if I'd have got another point, I'd have been well happy with that.
Yeah.
I think, but
You got some great anchors in your section.
yeah. So turns out it fished really well. The bower really. The top weight was only 5 kilos, but there was like 2s, 3s, 4s all the way through.
Yeah,
a little bit.
fairer section.
Yeah, it was a fishing match.
Yeah.
It was a fishing match. There's a little bit area in the middle where you needed to avoid really, because the fish just go like that. So the bower was good. Good decision to put 28 pegs on there, even though the pegs are tight. You know, it's a good little venue really.
Shall we go? So we didn't mention Decoy.
No, so Decoy peg sets. The way they do it at Decoy is they sort of get local anglers in that know the pegs and the form of the pegs, and they try and make each peg set fairly fair. So you should have one really flyer, and you should have one that's not so good peg, and then the 3 in the middle are sort of.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so they try and fair it up rather than one team drawing 5 dolly holes and winning 5 sections.
However, the wind changed on the Thursday, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yeah,
And it changed for southwesterly, and we know it was warmer.
yeah,
So that's going to affect the commercial really quick, isn't it?
yeah.
So all that pre-planning kind of
It can do.
goes
Yeah,
out the window a little
yeah.
bit. So when you saw your Decoy pegs, did you have much knowledge about that, or did the
I see a few of them. We had Tom Ed was on 3 horseshoe, which I thought that's all right. That's steady peg. It is a steady peg. It's the right horseshoe. You need to be 1 to 8 or peg 13 basically on there. Then you had Josh on 12 6 Island. So 6 Island had been used a lot in the practice matches, and our lads had been on there, and they were really confident of catching fish wherever they were. And Josh won his section.
Before I forget, right, when we were trying to find out the results at the end of the day on the bank,
We were trying to.
Josh was useless, right?
Yeah.
Josh, how have you got on? Guess what he sent back?
What?
It's going to be tight. What?
Yeah.
The whole section? But he meant about winning the section. In
right.
hindsight,
Yeah.
in his head. But it was like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah. It's hard because obviously Decoy takes a lot longer to weigh in because there's more fish.
But it's like, I might have come top 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. Brilliant.
You know, you looked on paper, we were like, some of the bank runners had got certain anglers down for less points than they had, and other anglers were like loads better than what they thought. So it's all irrelevant until you weigh in, isn't it? But
so you've got Tom and Josh.
Tom and Josh. Then we had Adam drew U18, which was I think it was like our best peg, if you know what I mean. But sort of Adam's and Tom's similar sort of thing, depending on the weather. And Adam did really well. He was 4th in his section with like the biggest weight out of all our team. Let's say 40 odd kilo. And then we had Ross on Damson. Was he on Damson? Yeah, Damson 22. So Damson on the Tuesday match, because obviously Decoy's different. They can fish right up to the day before the final at Decoy, whereas the drains are closed for a week. So we had like 4 anglers on Damson on Tuesday, and I think Peg 1 won it with like 40-50 pounds, and then there was only 2 other people to weigh in. Like it was like £11 and £9. That's how hard the fishing was. Yeah, the weather's changed, and that last hour, fishing a little bit later, and it fished. You know, Decoy fished a lot better. I think what the average was. I think it was like 17.5 kilos, the average weight per person on Decoy in the actual final,
that's good, isn't it?
Yeah. And the average weight on the drains was 3.7 kilo.
Far
That's
better.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
I'm not being funny. That is
over £6.
yeah
Yeah.
average weight
Yeah.
on a Whittlesey final.
Yeah.
You tell me a venue.
All that doom and gloom we were spinning beforehand.
I know, yeah.
Just shows.
Well, it was doom and gloom, and it still is doom and gloom. I think this is, the fish have woken up and had a feed, and anyway, we go on to that another day. But so, and then the last angle was Tony Evans. So he was on our worst peg in the set. So I said on the Friday, I said the good pegs look after themselves, the bad pegs are where we need superhuman performance. That's when, and both Ross and Tony did brilliantly. I think Ross was like 5th or 6th in his section and Tony was 9th. So the rumour coming back was Tony's last. So it's like, oh, never mind, he's drawn a shit, he's last. Yeah. Anyway, we're working out our points on the drain. So,
well, hold on, before we get to that, let's go back and run through where who was your first set of pegs on the drains?
So Drac,
he come
third,
which was amazing.
Yeah. So he
all
had
those guys to his left.
Yeah,
should have beaten. Really.
So Steve M. Gray ended up coming third in the whole drains with, I want to say 12 kilo something.
And we'll put that on in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the guy next to him had 8 kilo 260, say, and James had 8 kilo 100, something like that.
That's
so,
it, yeah.
Yeah. So James had a lovely match. He sort of went to our team plan as such.
Isn't he a nice person?
He is, yeah.
He sat in the curry house that night and he was.
He's just so chilled. Nothing
he
phases him. He's just like.
He was going, do you know what? I feel I should have come second.
Yeah.
And I said.
But that's a sign of a good angler, isn't
I said, you've done amazingly well to come third.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he kept reliving the match as throughout the night. Yeah. So he came third. Who was the next?
So next angler down was Tony Watling.
Shall we add a clip in?
Yeah.
Because I'd been at work and I didn't get home till about 3:15. So I literally got out the back of the house, crossed the bridge. I seen Tony Fenn.
Yeah.
I said, all right, Tony. He goes, yeah. I said, okay. He goes, well, I'm just watching Anthony. I went, what, Watling? He went, yeah. I went, no. Big Nose has drawn there. He went, yeah. I said, how's he doing? He goes, he's catching big fish.
Yeah.
I think he's beating everybody.
Yeah.
So what we did, I did a bit of the weigh-in. So rather than me talk, should we watch Tony weigh in?
Back. I'm not going to have to pick all that bait up.
Well on, Tony. Well done, mate. Lovely. Any more?
Right, that's it, mate.
Well done. Call it, mate. Is it?
No, not now, no.
Got told.
$8,700. Well done, Tony. Very well done, mate. Well done.
That's photo toad.
Photo.
Photo toad. I'll do photos.
Picture and end, innit? Brilliant, well done.
So good little bit of footage there.
That was. And who was the Barnsley Black bloke?
Did he give you my rigs back or not?
We'll show that in a minute.
What? He can't keep them.
Before we do that, who was the guy second peg down?
Dave Crooks, sorry. Nick Crooks.
Nick Crooks. So he was second in the section, I think.
He was, yeah. He fished a really good match.
Because I was
I think
behind.
he had like 7.5 kilos. I think Tony won the section with
8-1, I think.
8-1, yeah.
I was talking to Ben Taylor, so I saw Ben quickly.
Oh yeah, I never see Ben actually.
He
I
was
was trying to see him.
under one of the trees behind. Oh, who fishes for them? The lady
Helen.
Dagnall.
Yeah.
So she was on the first peg next to the bridge,
Oh right.
and this guy from Barnsley, I forgot his name.
Nick Crooks.
Nick Crooks was on the second peg.
Yeah.
And Ben's going, look, and they were watching him fish, and they were like,
Well, they're good, very close mates. Nick and Ben, and they're all from the same.
It was brilliant listening
Yeah,
to
yeah,
them,
yeah.
and Ben was going, and he was talking to another guy from Austin. He's going, look, he's doing that, and he was, I know he was feeding quite aggressively, and they were dissecting what he was doing in a very positive way, and I thought, this is really cool, listening to them talk about what he's doing. Yeah, so Helen must have come high up in the section as well.
I'm not sure where she come, but yeah, she would have been.
She was very high up. So we had that bit there, and then of course Tony won his section with 8 kilos 100.
Yeah,
and then So are you a bit light of tackle? Are you missing some floats?
Yeah. So we come in the shop on Friday, and to be fair, the week before I see this rig box. I thought, that ain't Tony's rig box. He don't own a rig box. But it was his rig box, and we've even got footage of rigs in his rig box. I know some of them are mine now, but they need to come back out.
Well, yeah. Should we show that footage now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so obviously we had to get the it's the one and only time on this podcast I'm ever going to highlight a Spurs fan, but we had to do it. So here's Tony Watling. Okay, let me see if I can get a special interview with the one and only Yiddite, Tony Watling, who's actually won his section. So let's see if he's up for a word or two. Well, here he is. Well done, Tone. First in his section. What was the secret rig?
Well, it was these flat floats that I've acquired.
They're nice.
Beautiful, aren't they? I had some sort of reputable angler. He gave me them and he said, you might as well keep them. So
he hasn't lent them to you?
No, I don't think so. He said I could have them.
Was that typical Spurs fan?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, he's. I mean, he's a Newcastle fan, so he's used to giving things away. Normally they give penalties and goals away, don't they? You know, so yeah. I'm not mentioning no names or anything, but they fit in my box of treat. These rigs.
They go the colour coded as well for your. Yeah, they look nice, don't they?
So obviously I'm not going to name who it is or anything, but
well, isn't he got like relations like they live in like Dubai or something?
The Sheikh?
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. I'm giving away too much there.
He's loaded and he can afford. He's got 1 million flat floats.
But yeah. So I was going to buy some, and he said, "Look, you might as well have these."
Did he give you the rig winders as well?
Yeah. But if you look,
they're
like,
purple.
Look, I'm going to show you. Look, here's the box. Right, here's my rig box. Right. Which a lot of people don't think I've got one. And the bottom tray there. Look at that, look, watch how that sits in there, look.
I'll tell you what, Tone, that's got to stay there, isn't it?
Well, and that just flips to the side so it don't damage them.
He's lost those.
Well, he never had them, I don't think.
Well, your maggots have been nicked by a cheesy. He's
sort of bloke I am, I'm generous. If put it this way, if I'd lent this person my floats, I wouldn't expect them back.
Is it right Alex is buying the curry tonight?
Oh, is it? Don't mention who it is. Of course he's getting it.
Anyway,
all the
Tone,
money he's got.
Well done today, mate.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Well done.
Section win.
Yeah.
Good rigs, aren't they?
Well, he liked them.
Yeah.
They're nice little floats. Was it running that quick to use a flat float?
No. I think these floats I know we've talked about flat floats a hell of a lot on the podcast, haven't we? And I think finally the sort of, I don't know, the needles drop, should we say, for a lot of the teams. I just think they just use a heavier float, stuff like that. But these flat floats you see by the final how many teams, all the top teams all had these little flat floats set up because they offer a totally different presentation.
Available from Tackle Bates.
Yes, obviously they've been available for quite a few years.
Just do a little plug there. You have a wide range of flat floats available in the shop.
Yeah, even though March does pull fast, a lot of people go too heavy with them, and I think that's the penny that's dropped with a lot of people. They think that because it's flowing, you have to use a heavy flat float. Well, the heaviest rigs I set up at March would be a 1.25 grams normal float, but if you need to go heavier than that, you just fish these little flat floats. But even in like 1.5 grams, 2 grams, it's absolutely belting through and swirling, and you just put them through, sink your pole tip, they just fish down to the bristle, and they just run, and they just fish beautifully. You can hold your bait still if you want to use a heavier one, or you can itch it through. You can hold it so your hook bait lifts up. And when you're fishing for these skimmers in particular, then they're all over. They're all over the depth. So, you know, they're lazy fish. They're not like roach, which will chase after the bait when it's flowing. These skimmers like come in your peg and they sort of have a bit of a feed, and then they sit over your bait. They come above your bait and you put your rig in. Like if you put a normal rig in, you try and reverse it in, you get one skimmer or whatever because they're sitting up here. But with these, you can get your rig in and get it fishing above your bait quicker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And when you're holding it back, it's lifting up right where your bait is, and you catch more skimmers with it. You can do all sorts with them.
It's got a lot of versatility, but
Yeah,
things,
and not just skimmers, but the roach, the bigger roach as well. So you can fish them off bottom. You can do everything. But I think there's a lot more teams switched on to that this year because presentation was massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
So giving away all the secrets now.
Well, it's not like giving it away. I think there's just
Cat's already out of the bag, is it?
yeah. Just more people have switched on to it, I would think.
Yeah, cool. That's good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got. Let me tell a little bit of the story. So on the bank behind Tony's peg. So there's Tony Fenn's there, myself. Gav's turned up with Phil.
Yeah.
Steve
Slater.
is there as well, and Steve Slater's. He seems to be in everyone's WhatsApp group.
He's one of these, yeah.
Because he's going. He's got all the. What was amazing me was how quick he was getting the scorecards, photographs of the scorecards from all the sections. So we stood there, and I think we worked out he got 24, 25 points on the drains. And then we're trying to work out the decoy results.
We wanted 20.
We were trying to work out the decoy
We wanted
results.
20. We wanted 20, and we said the year before 20. That's what you need to.
Well,
you need to aim
Polly
for.
got. Did he come 7th in his section?
Yeah. So Polly's section, for example, right? This is how the fishing completely changed in 3 days. Polly had nearly 5 kilos and was 7th in his section. So we were expecting probably 6 or 7 people to blank in that section from previous results.
Just changed totally.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Godfrey was on a peg that had probably caught 1 fish in 4 matches. And he's come 2nd in the section. For me, that was the performance that won it for Barnsley. Like, they've all fished amazingly, but for me, that was the result that stood out. And that's why he's one of the best anglers in the world.
Yeah.
You know, brilliant. You know, you look to that section on paper, every single one of them anglers, it was like a section of doom.
What
Do
did
I
you
mean?
in?
It was like
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Ali's section, he had no chance.
No.
Absolutely
No, so-
0 chance. 'Cause he was at the wrong end, wasn't
He
he?
was wrong end. It's big fish match as we predicted.
Yeah.
There's even more big fish caught than we thought.
Crazy.
I think the overall individual winner come from there, and Kai Giroux.
Kai did fantastic, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 12 kilos or 11 kilos next peg. So yeah, it's
Again in the curry house, because I was talking to brain fart. Who was on Carrot Wash?
Alistair.
Alistair.
Yeah.
And
Carrot on carrot wash.
I said, "What? It must have been horrendous sitting there, watching." And Ray was bank running for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
He said it was. They were just nets in, big fish. He said I couldn't do anything.
A lot of people said about how tight the pegs were, but it was pegged perfectly because you can't have 3 pegs one side of the bridge. They would have been, so Ali would have been the other side of the bridge potentially, and it's a no go. Do you know what I mean?
did. In fact, he did amazingly well, didn't he?
He did well,
'Cause
yeah. He beat 5, so come 9th in his section. You know, everyone has their one peg not so good better than the others, and he did a good job. I think we perhaps felt if he was maybe on the other section, which was March Bypass, which was more of a fishing match,
Yeah.
that he'd have scored less points.
Carrot
Do you know what I
Wash wasn't a fishing match as such, was it?
mean?
But
It was a fishing match when you in that little area, but it's a good job we found these fish because
and
Anyway.
what I'm saying is like you had to be. That was the one section where
but
the draw was.
that's the same with a lot of the sections in the whole of the Winter League. You know, like drawing on the grass at Wiggy's, you have to draw there really.
So did you end up with 25 or 24 points?
So we had 24 points on the drains.
Which is still a really good score.
Yes, I think we were like 5th best on drains, something like that.
So Steve gave me a lift back, and this is what is amazing. I walked up to the burger stand where you lot were, and I saw Simon Willsmore, and he goes, Tackle Bates had come second. And I said, no way. Because we were trying to work out the Decoy scores.
Yeah.
And
Well, we were. Well, the rumour was, it was like, oh, well, boys, never mind. Like, Tony's done shit. Ross has done shit.
We thought you had about 42 points with 2 guys still to score. That's how out we were.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we were guessing we didn't have the results from Decoy, but we had the results from the drain. So I'm thinking, nah, can't have done. And then I walked up to you and I said, have you got? You said, we got 43 points. But we come second. We can't beat
Barnsley.
Can't beat Barnsley. They got 38.
Unbelievable.
But that was, what time was I talking to you? About 5:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is I'm not knocking the angling interest at all. I mean, organising big comps is amazing. Is really difficult. But it's interesting how the captains, within an hour, because everyone sent the score.
Yeah, we're just adding our own up, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean they've got 30
they've got to literally put it all into the spreadsheet and into the system.
Well, 2 teams had the same number of points. They've got to work out the weights.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, it might be what I would do if I was organising a big event. I'd ask the captains to input their guess of their score, or where they think. Just use it as a check, because you guys are really close, if not spot on. Because you've got the boards, it would just help. The organisers could use it as a bit of a double check. I wouldn't use it as their final.
No.
But just you could see any glaring errors, couldn't you, if you had any discrepancies between the two? But as I walked in there, even then I thought, nah, can't have done. Anyway, we sat in the auditorium, didn't we? And I was all right. I had a lot of space, and then this person sat next to me with a burger. It's a huge burger.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's Scottish. He was Scottish then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
He was checking the rugby.
He was Scottish for the day.
Yeah, he was. Anyway, we had a bit of John Price. So this is what I had to put up with in the auditorium. How was the rugby today, John? How did Wales do today, John? That's not going on camera. As Jonathan Means, scarred for life.
Bowled it, didn't he?
Jonathan Means.
Oh, yeah, down the tattoo.
So even though the results came out of 7, I felt it was a very well organised event. It does. I mean, I remember organising big things at school. Even like, I know it's not the same thing, but we do a sports day. We're under pressure to get results out. So obviously, bit of time, but the Angling Trust guys were superb. They got everything spot on. There was lots of thanks to the organisers, to Cheesy, yourself, Ray Malley for helping out organise the venues.
Yeah.
And they went through the results. Now, I'm not going to put them all up because obviously it'll get a bit boring. But we've got Tony Watling winning his section.
D section, 8 kilos, 700. Daiwa Tackle Bates, Tony Watling.
And I was paying for the curry tonight.
Bye, nose.
Snip him up. Oh, nearly knocked his eye out there.
E section,
Josh Pace winning his section.
O section, 34 kilos, 450 grams. Josh Pace.
That's a nice jacket.
Then we got the top 3 on the drains, was it? Yep. And Kai came second
individually,
which was fantastic.
The drains in 3rd place. 12 kilos and 40 grams, Steve Hemingray. Runner-up for 12 kilos, 150 grams, Kai Jerram.
Hey!
13 kilos, 530 grams, Tench. Jack Turner.
And then we put the top 3 in. So I like this, not because of the order, but because 2 local teams were in the
Well,
top
yeah,
3,
it's-
which was.
There's still not a local team won it though.
But it's so good. It's so close. So 3rd place were
Hot Rods, SENSAS Hotrods. They had 48 points.
48 points, which is a really
So
good score.
5th overall was Daiwa Dorking. 4th was SENSAS Starlets. 3rd was SENSAS Hotrods with 48. Yeah, unbelievable, really. Local side, you know,
Yeah.
they've been very consistent over the last 6 years or whatever. They've all been in top 10 every time.
Yeah,
I
do
think.
very well. Yeah.
In third place, £1,500 with a medal for each team member to come. With 48 points, SENSAS Hotrods.
Tighten that strap, though, it'll drag on the floor.
We were second with 43.
Runners up, winning £1,750, total weight of 43 points, Daiwa Tackle Bates.
Brilliant. Lads fish really well.
43 points would win it most years, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think the only time it's been won with less is obviously when Barnsley won this year, and they won another one with about 32 points or something stupid.
And of course, they came first with 38
Yeah,
points.
so Barnsley have won this Winter League final 4 out of 5 years.
That's and you were saying as you went to the curry house, you
Yeah.
said to me, statistically,
They're the best team in the world. Yeah.
in match fishing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
as in this style of fishing, or
They're just unbelievable.
statistically,
I mean,
they're
last year they had a blip, and I felt that this year they were probably even more determined because they didn't win anything like normally they win everything. Like it's like they won that, they win this, and win this, and like that. And then obviously going into this year, it felt like they were, you know, they were always on it. They're always on it, but they were even more on it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This year, and you know, unbelievable team.
Winter League champions for 2025 with 39 points, Drennan Barnsley Blacks.
We can go in a second. Start counting there from 30.
they are an unbelievable team, aren't they?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
they are. Yeah, awesome.
So you won't be. I know you won't mind me saying this, but I know you were really disappointed, weren't you? You were like a bit because you were so close.
Yeah,
So
we're getting there. Like last year we were 5th, this year we're 2nd.
But I mean, in the curry house, you're a little bit kind of so close. So now you've had a few days to reflect upon it. How do you feel about it now?
we didn't win.
Yeah, but I know.
The lads have, you know, everyone's done amazingly, and we're all the same. We all
I'm
wanna
mega
be
competitive
winners.
as well, but you've come runners up with 43 points to probably the best team in the world.
Yeah, but no one remembers second hand. did they?
No, you still feel.
Yeah. Fishermania champion 2024. Who was second?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know what I
I
mean?
know what you're saying. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I know the lads well. We're all proud of how we're doing, but we're seeing it as like we're getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
You know, as a team, we're sort of getting a bigger squad of anglers, and you know, we want to go do well in the national now. You know, we don't just want to be the local Winter League experts. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to be known as that. We want to be.
I spoke to Steve Collett yesterday,
You know.
and he said to me, I said, "Oh, the Winter League was really good."
Yeah.
He's an old ex-match angler. And he went, I said, Alex, is that team Tackle Bates did really well? He went, they've got a fantastic set of anglers in that team.
Yeah, we have. We've got a nice, hopefully, I feel we've got a nice mix of younger anglers and stalwarts and experience, and and I feel that we're good. We gel well. We all get on. Got some characters. We all have a laugh afterwards.
That's so. Who was I talking to? I can't remember. I was talking. I can't remember who I was talking to. It was after we went to the curry house, not on the same night, but the last couple of days. And that was one of the things I said about Tackle and Bates' team. You're all really good anglers, but also really, really interesting people. You can have it's the combination of the two works really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just sat with people the different people I hadn't really spoken to much in the curry house, and 2 hours we're absolutely screaming out, crying our eyes out, aren't we, of laughter. It's really good fun.
Yeah.
And I fell for the duck joke. We haven't put it in.
Have you got it?
No, what?
You didn't film it. You weren't filming at the time.
No, we're by. So basically, I walked with Steve. Is it Slater?
Yeah.
Back to Polly's car.
Slates, Polly,
and with Watling.
Watling.
And they just got me. So it was Slate's fault. They said, "Are we going to the duck do later?"
No, it was like, "Are you going to that do?" Oh yeah, duck do, wasn't it?
The three of them started.
Yeah. They're all in.
They all know.
They're all on the same planet. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, I'm thinking, aren't we going for a curry? So they kept going on, and I just said to Polly, I said, "What does a duck do?" And he went, "Whack whack."
All three of them did it at the same time, didn't they? Unbelievable.
But that's what I'm on about. That's so. The way they normally one of the 2 or 3 gives it away that you want.
Yeah.
They're brilliant, and that's just one example. So it's like, got me.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But no, we did really well. Hot Rods did really, really well. Good for the local sides, but I think they're the same. They want to win it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to mention Peterborough, first year in the final. I think they were 17th, which, they would want to do better. But as a team, they've only been together, 4 years?
Yeah.
They're improving. They're a good, tight group of lads, and that's their first experience. I'm sure they'll
Maybe
say,
they're looking for a new sponsorship deal.
Well, they run out, aren't they?
I don't know.
But
how many can they have?
Well, who knows? But yeah, I feel that they've done well. Good on them. They've qualified for the final, which is hard enough in our league. They've beat Image and Stanjays as well. So which are full of brilliant anglers. So they've done well to get there, and I think that will probably drive them on to do even better next year.
Yeah.
So local teams have done really well, haven't they?
I think it's fantastic. Right, we need to sort of wrap this up before we finish.
You can't, Barnsley are just like different gravy, aren't they?
Yeah. So do you want to have a few thanks before we go? From your perspective.
Well, yeah, obviously the Angling Trust did a good job of that on the results given. But for us as a team, there's, in my team especially, there's anglers that do unselfish things and for the team, take one for the team as such.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's those anglers in all teams that, will take one for the team and let someone else fish, or they'll, be the eyes on the bank and, that they've caught a load of fish perhaps to be in the team, but realistically said, well, no, for the team, these anglers should be in. And I think that's what team fishing is all about. So I think every team that fished on Saturday's probably got those anglers in there. Throughout the Winter League, lastminute.com, someone's ill or whatever, you can ring someone and, yeah, I'll be there, mate, a drop of a hat, Spent the whole week arguing with his missus because he was meant to be going out that day, but he can't let the team down. So there's loads, all them in each individual team needs to be recognised, and I'm sure team anglers will go, yeah, that's that. He's that guy in our team or whatever. Bank runners as well, they're not fishing, but they were valuable, important, and obviously being a local team, we've got lots of people. It might be a different story if we were travelling 3 hours away. But obviously Cheesy Bob does a lot. For the matches. Stan and Fizz run some matches. I think Steve Welford helped with the pegging. Jeff Tuttleby, and he's also helped with pegging. Not only that, he was going out trying to find fish during the week. So he's got, he wasn't mentioned on the day, but he did a lot. Obviously the local angling clubs, Whittlesey, Paul Marriott at Yaxley, Bob Fitzjohn from March. So all in all, we was worried that potentially it would be like so doom and gloom, this conversation, and there was 0 blanks from what I see.
Well, we normally have a curry, but we're excited.
Yeah.
We're going to Anne's Thai.
I haven't been there for about a year.
I know, it's good. And we might peruse the results and see if but we don't think there are any blanks.
No, I'm pretty sure there's no blanks, but yeah. And obviously the Angling Trust, Richard and James Lewis and all the other people behind the scenes. We always complain when it goes wrong.
Exactly,
so
they need a lot of
credit when it goes right.
Definitely right. A lot of credit to those guys. Well done.
I think the key thing as well, like with the way it was fishing leading up to the final, certain teams were like, well, we need to know where we're going to practice and things and stuff like that. But to get the best match for anglers, they left it as late as possible to see which sections they were going to use.
Yeah,
They could quite have easily said, well, they could have probably got away with it with the way the weather warmed up. But, like March Bypass, they've put sections in. Anglers have been sort of guinea pigs to a certain extent, but it all pans out come the final. The Bypass turns out it probably would have been an amazing fishing match, because there's fish everywhere now. For as far as the eye can see, all day is fish topping. It's biblical how many fish are there. Yet 2 weeks ago, no one caught anything.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is why they were flexible, and the teams have got to sort of realise that if the final is here next year, if we're the same scenario, what I would suggest is probably if it is here, is having it a week later. I think the weather will be a bit better. That gives us a chance for other fish to move in, like the rudd and things like that. Yeah. So well done to all those people.
And the marshals, the stewards.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, there was about 15 stewards for each sections on the drains.
It was incredible.
Yeah. It's a bit different at Decoy. I think realistically, next year, people were looking to help. Then Decoy to weigh in, check the anglers on pegs to start with, weigh in. So next year, if it is here.
Yeah. I'll tell you. So I must have looked a little bit official because my camera with me.
Yeah.
But people who I don't know were stopping me and asking me what was happening, like the general public. Mm-hmm. And it was lots of old ladies. What's going on? I was explaining to them. I said, well, this is the Winter League final. I explained about the whole process of qualification because they'd see the guys in their bibs. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the local people didn't have a clue. Mm. And when I explained to them, they were gobsmacked. They were going, wow. And I said,
he's come from
I know.
Newcastle.
And it was quite interesting. A few people that I spoke to actually stayed behind to watch some of the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
And they went away and came back. Because I said, what time? I said, about 4:15. I'm going to come back. And I was watching and they did. Mm. And I just think it's passing on that knowledge. Mm. And a lot of it is because they could see the stewards in their bibs, in their day
glows.
It looks
official, yeah.
Yeah, it just looked like, and it was a top-class event that had been run really well. And it was quite a privilege to stand in there watching it all to unfold in front of you. It was really good. So yeah, the organisers and all the volunteers need a massive round of applause because that's how you could tell was not from our biased viewpoint, but people who hadn't got a clue were. It was good, really, really good. So well done, everybody. Right, I haven't eaten for hours and I'm feeling faint. But we do need to mention a couple of things. Don't forget to send in the ideas about the junior section.
Yeah.
We're running.
I've had quite a few people message me about certain things, which last week I haven't really sort of followed up because I've been so sort of dialed into Winter League final, which I will get round to speaking to a few people and, thanks for messaging me and stuff.
We're having the meeting soon to get things off the ground. So any more info would be great. And there was a second thing, but I know what it was. We're completely out of sync now with podcasts, so I'm not sure if we're going to have one next week or the week after, but we will work it out.
Probably a couple of weeks. End of season finale.
And then we'll link in the litter pick as well.
Yeah.
Which we penciled in for April the 6th.
Yeah.
So.
Got two more matches left of the season.
You got the March Open.
Got Hayjack last round. And then the last March Open. So anything could happen.
Sweet
corn might even be out by then.
Mate, that's a secret bait.
Oh, sorry.
You should tell everybody. Right. We really need to go.
Yeah.
Right. see you all probably in 2 weeks' time.
Yep.